everyone, I am K. Vinoda Kumari. Today in this video, I am going to explain you about certain chemical substances, how they respond with some indicators and then litmus papers. Here I am going to take certain chemical substances. They may be acids or bases. Those chemical substances, how they respond with indicators and then litmus paper. Here the indicators I am taking are methyl orange and phenolphthalein, and the blue and red litmus papers I'll take and show you with a small activity. Okay, now let us see. Now we'll see the aim of this activity. The aim of this activity is to understand how the given sample respond for litmus paper and then certain indicators. I told you that I am going to take the indicators methyl orange and phenolphthalein and the litmus papers blue and red. Okay. And first of all, we'll see the materials required. Here, I'm going to take a conical flask, a watch glass, a dropper, red and blue litmus papers, and certain dilute solutions. Here, the dilute solutions I am taking are HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, CH3COOH, NaOH, KOH, MgOH taken twice, NH4OH, and indicator phenolphthalein indicator and methyl orange indicators. So here all of them HCl, H2SO4, that is the hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, acetic acid. These are the liquids. We have to take the dilute solutions. Sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide are the solids. We have to make the solutions of these also. And then ammonium hydroxide is a liquid. It should be diluted. So all the solutions we have to prepare dilute solutions and then we have to conduct the activity. First, let us see all these materials. Okay. Let us have a look at the materials required. The first one, this is the conical flask. This is a watch glass. We need some water for dilution. This is the dropper and the litmus paper. This is a red litmus paper and we need blue litmus paper. Indicators. This is the phenolphthalein indicator and this is the methyl orange indicator. Okay. Apart from this, some other chemicals, dilute solutions we have to prepare, okay, by using water. So now we'll look at the dilute solutions also. Okay. See here I am showing the original samples. This is HCl. This is H2SO4. This is HNO3, that is nitric acid. And this is acetic acid. All these four are solutions, that is the liquids. And this is sodium hydroxide. This is potassium hydroxide. And this is the magnesium hydroxide. These three are the solid substances. And this is ammonium hydroxide liquid. So these are the chemicals I am taking. Hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid, nitric acid, and acetic acid, we have to prepare the dilute solutions. That is, we have to take a little amount of water and then add a few drops of the acid, either HCl or H2SO4 or nitric acid, whatever it is. We have to add a few drops of these liquids to the water, so that we'll get the dilute solutions. And for the solids, we have to take small amount of the sodium hydroxide in a beaker, and then we have to add few ml of water to it, and then we have to stir it, so that we will get the solution. Like that, we have to prepare for the potassium hydroxide as well as the magnesium hydroxide. And for the liquid ammonia, we have to take few ml of the uh, ammonium hydroxide solution, and then if you add little amount of the water, you will get the dilute solution of this. So like that, we have to prepare the dilute solutions of all these chemicals, and then we'll conduct the activity. Okay. Now we'll start the activity. So first I'm taking HCl dilute solution and then H2SO4. First we have to take a watch glass, one for the hydrochloric acid solution and the other for the sulfuric acid solution. This is the watch glass. Okay. Now we have to add few ml of hydrochloric acid to the first watch glass, and later on we'll take another watch glass and then we'll add sulfuric acid to that. Okay. So first I'm taking dilute hydrochloric acid into this, few ml or few drops of the dilute HCl. Okay. So here I am taking a few drops of dilute HCl into the watch glass, right? Now this is what? This is dilute HCl. Now we'll take another watch glass. Okay. In this watch glass, we'll take dilute H2SO4. Okay. I'll take dilute H2SO4 into this, few ml of or few drops of dilute H2SO4. In the first watch glass, I have taken dilute HCl, and in the second watch glass, I am taking dilute H2SO4. Okay. This is H2SO4. Now we'll take the litmus papers and then test it, right? So we have taken dilute HCl into one of the watch glass and then dilute H2SO4 into the other one. Now we'll test these two dilute solutions by taking a red litmus paper. So while testing with this litmus paper, you observe the changes. Why? Because at the end of this activity, we have to make a note of our observations. So now we'll test it with red litmus paper in dilute HCl as well as the dilute H2SO4. See, this is the red litmus paper. See, yeah, it is kept in dilute HCl. Wait for a few seconds. Let us uh, wait for a few seconds. If you may find any change or you may not find any change, right? You are not finding any change. This is the what? This is the red litmus paper. So dilute HCl with red litmus paper, we are not finding any change of the litmus paper. Okay. Now we'll bring the red litmus paper to the dilute H2SO4. Yes. Wait for few seconds. No. This is the red litmus paper. Okay. So we have kept the red litmus paper in dilute HCl as well as in the dilute H2SO4, but we didn't find any change of the litmus paper with these two solutions. Okay, make a note of it. So keep it in mind so that we can write it at the end of the activity. So red litmus paper has does not undergo any change with dilute HCl and then dilute H2SO4. That means it is remaining as it is. It remains as it is. As you are taking a red litmus paper, so the red litmus paper is as it is. You are not finding any change of it. Okay, right. Okay, now we'll test it with the blue litmus paper. Let us take a blue litmus paper and we'll just dip it in the dilute HCl and then in the dilute H2SO4 and then we'll observe the changes. Okay, right. This is the blue litmus paper. We'll dip it in dilute HCl. Right. This is a blue litmus paper and then we'll just wait for a few seconds. See here, see the blue litmus paper is turning to red, isn't it? In the previous slide, that is with the red litmus paper, we have seen that there is no change in the red litmus paper. But here we are observing that the blue litmus paper is changing to red color. So that means HCl, it turns blue litmus paper red. Okay. Now we'll see with dilute H2SO4. Okay, let us bring a blue litmus paper and we will dip it in the dilute H2SO4. This is the blue litmus paper. Okay, we'll wait for a few seconds and then see. Right, here also you are observing that the blue litmus paper is changing to red, isn't it? Okay, so that means here HCl dilute, that is dilute HCl and then H2SO4, both of them, they are turning the blue litmus paper into red. Whereas with red litmus paper, you did not find any change. But with blue litmus paper, it has changed to red color, right? Now we'll conduct the same activity with another two dilute solutions. The next dilute solutions here I'm taking are nitric acid and then acetic acid. Okay, so first we have seen with HCl and then H2SO4, and now we'll see with HNO3 and CH3COOH. So first of all, we'll take a watch glass. We have to take a watch glass. So here again we have to take two watch glasses, one for nitric acid and another for the acetic acid. Okay, this is the watch glass. And then what we have to do, we have to add or we have to pour few ml of the dilute nitric acid into this watch glass. Few ml of the nitric acid to one of the watch glasses and then few ml of acetic acid into the other one. Right? Okay, well now we'll add few ml of the nitric acid dilute solution. Okay, right. See here we are adding few ml or few drops of the nitric acid. See all four, that is the HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid, all of them are colorless liquids. Okay, this is dilute nitric acid. Now we'll take another watch glass. Now we'll add what? Acetic acid solution. So few ml of the dilute acetic acid, that is a acetic acid solution. Okay, right, we are pouring it in the into the watch glass. Yes, so the fourth solution which we have taken is dilute acetic acid. This is also called as vinegar. Okay, so as pure acetic acid with water, that is the water and then acetic acid mixture is called as a vinegar. So this is a dilute solution. Now we'll test these two solutions again with the blue litmus and then red litmus paper, and then we'll observe the changes. Okay. Same thing we have to do for these solutions also. Now let us take a red litmus paper and test it in dilute HNO3 as well as the dilute acetic acid. So with these solutions, we'll test it and then we'll observe the changes. Now we'll bring a red litmus paper and we'll dip it in the dilute HNO3. What is this? This is a red litmus paper. Okay. Now we'll wait for a few seconds and then see. No. So here again, here I am dipping it in the acetic acid solution. This is also red litmus paper. Okay. So here the in both the cases, that is in HNO3 as well as the acetic acid solutions, the red litmus paper has remained same. It is not undergoing any change in these two solutions. Okay. In the previous case also we have seen that HCl and then H2SO4, the red litmus paper has not undergone any change. So with these four solutions, that is HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid solutions, red litmus paper is not undergoing any change. It is remaining as it is. That means it remains as it is. It has not changed its color. Red is red itself. Okay. Now we'll see with the blue litmus paper. Okay. Now we'll test it with the blue litmus paper in dilute HNO3 as well as the dilute acetic acid solutions. In the previous case, we have tested a blue litmus paper with dilute HCl and then dilute H2SO4. What we noticed there we have we could find that blue litmus paper has changed to the red color. Now let us see what happens here. Yes, we are bringing a blue litmus paper. Yes, this is a blue litmus paper. We have kept it in the dilute HNO3. See, slightly, yes, it is changing to red color. Blue litmus paper is changing to the red color, isn't it? So HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, these dilute solutions, they have changed the blue litmus paper to the red color. Now let us see with acetic acid solution. Right? This is a blue litmus paper. Yes, even this is also, even acetic acid solution is also changing to the red color. So all the four dilute solutions, that is HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and the acetic acid solutions, all of them, they turn blue litmus to red, whereas red litmus paper remains same. Okay, so you keep these observations in mind, right? Now we'll take some other solutions and see. Now we'll try with other solutions. We have taken 8 solutions: HCl, H2SO4, HNO3, acetic acid, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide. So 4 we have completed. Now we'll see for the rest of the 4. So here I am taking the sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide solutions. Already I told you that sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide are the solids. So we'll take a few grams of sodium hydroxide in a beaker, and then if you add few ml of water and stir it, we'll get the solution of this. So similarly, potassium hydroxide also. So first let us see for these two. First, take a watch glass for both of them. Yes, this is the watch glass. And what we have to do next? We have to add few ml of or few drops of the sodium hydroxide solution to the watch glass. Okay, first we'll take sodium hydroxide solution in this, and later on we'll take potassium hydroxide solution to the other watch glass. Right? Yes. We are bringing sodium hydroxide solution and then we'll just add it to the watch glass. Few ml or few drops. Okay, sodium hydroxide solution. Okay, right. So this is the sodium hydroxide solution. Now we'll take another watch glass. Okay, right. What we have to add here? We have to add potassium hydroxide solution to this. Yes, we'll take potassium hydroxide in this. So in this we have taken sodium hydroxide. In this we are taking potassium hydroxide. Okay, this is a potassium hydroxide. So now we have to test it, these two solutions with blue litmus as well as the red litmus. Okay, now we'll do it. See, for the first four solutions, we have tested with red litmus paper. For HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid, we have taken a red litmus paper and we tested and we observed the changes. What changes we could observe? That for those solutions, red litmus paper remained same. Here let us see. We'll take a red litmus paper and we'll dip it in the sodium hydroxide solution and then potassium hydroxide solution, and we'll see the change, whether it undergoes any change or not. Okay. Okay. So here we are bringing a red litmus paper and we'll put it in the sodium hydroxide solution. This is a red litmus paper. Right. It is a red litmus paper. Now we'll wait for a few seconds and then see. See here, it is changing to blue color. Red litmus paper is changing to blue color. Whereas in the previous cases, we have seen that red litmus paper remained same for the four solutions. Whereas here for sodium hydroxide solution, we are observing that it is changing to blue color. Now we'll see for the next solution, that is potassium hydroxide solution. Okay, so now I'll keep it in potassium hydroxide solution. This is a red litmus paper. Okay, now we'll wait for few seconds. Yes, see, it is changing to blue color again here also. Here in sodium hydroxide solution, it has changed to blue color. Red litmus paper changed to blue color. And even here also in potassium hydroxide solution also, red litmus paper has changed to the blue color. So you remember these changes. Okay. Now we'll see for the other two solutions, that is magnesium hydroxide and then ammonium hydroxide solution. What happens? Okay, so before going for the other solutions, first we'll test it with the other litmus paper, that is a blue litmus paper, and then we'll go for the other solutions. Okay, so here let us take a blue litmus paper so that we'll come to a conclusion whether sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide changes with red as well as the blue or not. Okay, so here we'll take a blue litmus paper now. In the just now we have seen for red, now we'll see for blue. Okay, see, This is blue litmus. So here we are observing that blue litmus paper is not at all changing. So blue litmus paper remains as it is. Okay, for in sodium hydroxide solution. Now we'll see for this. So here, okay, this is a blue litmus paper. So now here also we are observing that there is no change in the blue litmus paper. It is remaining as it is. So sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide solutions, they turn red litmus to blue, whereas they will not respond for blue litmus. Okay. Now we'll see for the other two solutions. Okay. Now we'll take the other two solutions and see the changes with red and blue litmus paper. So the other two solutions here I am taking are magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide solutions. Same thing we have to do. We have to take a watch glass for both of them. So we have to take a watch glass. This is the watch glass. Okay. Yes, watch glass. Now what we have to do, we have to add few ml of the magnesium hydroxide solution to this. Few ml of magnesium hydroxide to solution to one of the this watch glass, and then ammonium hydroxide to the other watch glass, right? Okay. Now we'll add this, right? So we'll take few ml or few drops of the magnesium hydroxide into the watch glass. What is this solution? This is magnesium hydroxide solution. This is a magnesium hydroxide. And the next thing what we have to do is we have to take another watch glass. So in this we have to take ammonium hydroxide solution, right? So we'll take few ml of the ammonium hydroxide. Right. In one of the watch glasses we have taken magnesium hydroxide, and into the other watch glass we have taken the ammonium hydroxide. Right. So these are the two solutions which we have taken, and now we'll test it for both of them with red litmus as well as the blue litmus. So now we'll test it, the two solutions with the red litmus paper, and we'll observe the changes and then make a note of that. Here the two solutions, these are the two last two solutions which you are going to observe. Already we have seen the 6 solutions. Okay, so here red litmus paper, right? This is the red litmus paper. Well, see if you find any change or not, right? See, you are observing that blue litmus paper is changing to red color. Already we have seen for the sodium hydroxide and then potassium hydroxide solutions, the red litmus changed to blue. Here for magnesium hydroxide also, the red litmus paper has changed to blue color. Now let us see for the ammonium hydroxide. This is the red litmus paper, right? So now, yes, here this is also changing. Red litmus paper is gradually changing to the blue color, isn't it? So for sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, and then ammonium hydroxide, red litmus paper has changed to blue color. Okay. Whereas for HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid, red litmus paper remained same. Whereas those solutions did changed blue litmus paper to red, right? Okay, now we'll see with blue litmus paper what happens for these two. Now we'll test it with the blue litmus paper. See, just now we have seen with red litmus paper. So there we could find that red litmus paper has changed to blue litmus in magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide solutions. Here we'll take a blue litmus paper and test it in these two solutions. So this is a blue litmus paper, right? Do you find any change? No, you could not find any change in the blue litmus paper. Now here we'll bring it. This is a blue litmus. Okay, wait for a few seconds. No, here also we are not finding any change. So that means magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide solutions, they do not respond for blue litmus. That means they are not changing the color of the blue litmus paper. So with all these 8 solutions, dilute solutions, we have seen that for 4 solutions, that is HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid solutions, that they dilute solutions, they could respond for blue litmus. So they turned blue litmus red. And the other 4 solutions, that is sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide, they could respond for red litmus. They turned red to blue. So this shows that acids turn blue litmus red, whereas bases turn red litmus blue. Okay, so now we'll uh, continue our activity with indicators. Okay, now let us continue this activity with the indicators. So again I am taking the solutions, first 2 solutions HCl and H2SO4. I'll take a conical flask for both of them. This is the conical flask. Okay, and now we'll take uh, some amount of dilute HCl into the conical flask. We need 2 conical flasks, one for HCl and one for H2SO4. So we'll take some amount of HCl in one of the conical flasks and then some amount of H2SO4 in the other conical flask. Okay, so first we'll take HCl. See, here we are taking HCl. Okay, right. This is dilute HCl. And in the another conical flask, we'll take dilute H2SO4. Okay. Yes. Here I am taking dilute H2SO4. So we have taken HCl in one of the conical flask and H2SO4 in the other conical flask. And we'll test these solutions with the indicators. So here I am taking methyl orange and then phenolphthalein indicators, and we'll test what happens with these. Now we'll add few drops of phenolphthalein indicator to the dilute HCl and then dilute H2SO4. So we'll test it with phenolphthalein indicator. Later on we'll use the methyl orange. right? We'll add 1 or 2 drops of the phenolphthalein. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we have added phenolphthalein indicator to the dilute HCl. Now we'll add the same indicator to the H2SO4 also. Okay, this is also phenolphthalein indicator. So in both the cases, we have added phenolphthalein indicator, but the solution remained as it is. So we are not finding any change in the solution. So phenolphthalein indicator, whenever it is added to the dilute HCl and H2SO4, we could not find any change in the solution. Okay, so now we'll use another indicator and see. Okay, now we'll add methyl orange indicator to both the solutions. So few drops of, if we add few drops of methyl orange indicator to dilute HCl and dilute H2SO4, let us observe. So in the previous case, we have seen that whenever phenolphthalein is added, we could HCl and then H2SO4 have no change. Okay, so now we'll see. We'll add methyl orange. Okay, but so this is the methyl orange, right? See, you're finding that the solution has changed to red color. Whenever methyl orange is added to the dilute HCl, the colorless solution has changed to the red color. Here, isn't it? Okay, right, nice. Now we'll add methyl orange to dilute H2SO4 and see. So we'll add few drops of methyl orange to the dilute H2SO4 and then see whether do we find any change or not. So this is a methyl orange. Okay. See. Gradually the color is changing. The color is changing to red, isn't it? So the solution has changed. The solution has changed to the red color. So that means whenever methyl orange is added to dilute HCl and then dilute H2SO4, which are colorless solutions, they have changed to the red color. So methyl orange changes HCl and H2SO4 to red color, whereas with phenolphthalein, the solution remains same. Okay. Now we'll see for the other solutions. Now let us try with another solutions. The next solutions here I am taking are dilute HNO3 and dilute CH3COH. That is nitric acid and then acetic acid solutions, dilute solutions. Same, we have to take a conical flask for both of them, and then we have to add dilute solutions to the conical flasks. Okay, conical flask. Now we'll take few ml of the dilute nitric acid into the conical flask. And similarly, here also we have to test it with methyl orange and then phenolphthalein indicator. So few ml of nitric acid into one conical flask and acetic acid into the other conical flask. So this is also a colorless solution. Nitric acid is also a colorless solution. So here we have taken dilute nitric acid. Okay, right. This is a dilute nitric acid. And we'll take another conical flask, and in this we'll take acetic acid solution. Okay, so this is a dilute acetic acid solution, right? Okay, so now we'll test with the indicators. See, for HCl, dilute HCl, and for dilute H2SO4 with phenolphthalein, the solutions could not have any change. Now let us see for these two. So add few drops of phenolphthalein indicator to both the conical flasks, that is to the nitric acid solution and then acetic acid solution. Okay, right? So this is the phenolphthalein is a colorless, whereas methyl orange has orange color. So we are adding phenolphthalein indicator to the dilute nitric acid solution. Do you find any change? No. Now we'll add for this also. See, this is the phenolphthalein. We are adding for acetic acid solution also. Okay, so here also you are not finding any change. So that means phenolphthalein indicator with dilute HCl, dilute H2SO4, dilute HNO3 and dilute acetic acid solutions, they they do not have any change. They not respond for phenolphthalein. They remain colorless only. Okay. Now we'll see for the other one. Okay, now we'll test these two solutions, that is nitric acid solution and acetic acid solution with methyl orange. So we'll add few drops of methyl orange, put to both the solutions, and let us see whether we find any change or not. So we know that methyl orange is orange color. Okay, so here we are adding methyl orange. Yes, see here we are observing that there is a change. So colorless solution has changed to the red color after adding methyl orange to the dilute nitric acid solution, isn't it? So for HCl as well as H2SO4 also, methyl orange has changed to the red color, has changed the solution to the red color. Now let us see for the acetic acid. So now we'll add again few drops of the methyl orange to acetic acid also. Okay, see, yes, here also we are finding that it is changing. So for both the solutions, that is for nitric acid as well as the acetic acid solutions, methyl orange, it changes the colorless to the red color solutions. So that means for HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid, phenolphthalein is not responding, whereas with a methyl orange the solutions are changing to red color. Okay, now we'll see for the other remaining solutions. Now we'll take another solutions. So the next solutions here I am taking are the sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. So first of all we have to take a conical flask as usual. Okay, this is the conical flask. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to take some amount of sodium hydroxide solution into the conical flask. So for these solutions also we have to test it, them with phenolphthalein and then methyl orange indicators. So in the previous cases we have seen for 4 solutions, and let us see for the other 4 solutions. So here this is the sodium hydroxide solution. All of them are colorless solutions only. Okay, this is sodium hydroxide, and in this we'll take potassium hydroxide solution. Okay, so this is the potassium hydroxide solution. Right, now we'll test these solutions with the indicators. Now first of all, let us test these two solutions with phenolphthalein indicator. So we'll add few drops of phenolphthalein indicator to the sodium hydroxide solution as well as the potassium hydroxide solutions. Okay. Okay. Now, so I already told you that phenolphthalein is colorless. It is a colorless solution. See, here you are finding that it is pink color. See, the color solution is changing to pink color after adding few drops of phenolphthalein to the sodium hydroxide solution. So the the solution has changed to pink color. Now we'll add the indicator to the potassium hydroxide and see. See, we are adding few drops of phenolphthalein to the potassium hydroxide solution. See, the solution is gradually changing to the pink color, isn't it? Right. So that means phenolphthalein, with phenolphthalein indicator, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide colorless solutions have changed to the pink color. See, in the previous solutions, that is HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid solutions, phenolphthalein, after adding phenolphthalein to those solutions, the solutions remained same. With methyl orange indicator, they have turned to red color. But here, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide with phenolphthalein indicator, their solutions have changed to pink color. Right? So now we'll see for the other solutions. Okay? Now we'll test these two solutions with the methyl orange indicator. Okay? Now we'll add few drops of methyl orange to the sodium hydroxide solution and potassium hydroxide solution, and let us observe the changes. So here we are going to add methyl orange few drops to the sodium hydroxide. Okay, so methyl orange is orange color. See, here you are observing that the colorless solution is changing to yellow color, isn't it? With the phenolphthalein indicator, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide has changed to pink color. With methyl orange, this sodium hydroxide is changing to yellow color. Now we'll add the methyl orange to the potassium hydroxide solution and see. Okay, right? So here, see, here also it is changing to yellow color. So sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide with methyl orange, they are changing to yellow color. So colorless to yellow, they have changed with the methyl orange indicator. Okay. Now we'll see for the remaining two solutions, and then we'll come to a conclusion, and then we'll tabulate them. Okay. The last two solutions which we are going to observe are the magnesium hydroxide and then ammonium hydroxide. So now we'll take these two solutions and test them with phenolphthalein and then methyl orange indicators. Okay. So first thing is we have to take a conical flask, right? Okay. So we know that this is a conical flask. Okay. Now what we have to do, we have to take few ml of the magnesium hydroxide solution into this. Okay, take few ml of magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide in the other conical flask. Okay, right. So now here we are taking magnesium hydroxide. Okay, right. This is magnesium hydroxide solution. And here we are taking ammonium hydroxide solution. Yes, this is ammonium hydroxide solution. Now next what we have to do, we have to test these solutions with methyl orange and phenolphthalein indicator. Okay. Okay, now we'll test these two solutions with phenolphthalein indicator first of all, and later on we'll add methyl orange indicator. So here we'll take few drops of phenolphthalein to magnesium hydroxide and then ammonium hydroxide. Okay, right. So this is the phenolphthalein. Already we know that it is a colorless solution. Phenolphthalein is a colorless indicator. See here the solution is changing to pink color. So in the previous case also, that is with sodium hydroxide and then potassium hydroxide, they have changed to pink color with phenolphthalein indicator. And even this magnesium hydroxide is also changing to pink color, right? Now we'll see for ammonium hydroxide. Okay, so this is a indicator. So here see, we are observing that here also it is changing to the pink color. So all the four solutions, that is sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide, they change from colorless to pink with phenolphthalein indicator. Okay. So now we'll try with methyl orange indicator. Okay. Right. Now we'll try with methyl orange. So let us add few drops of methyl orange indicator to both the solutions, and then let us observe what will happen. See, we are going to add methyl orange. Okay. See, this is methyl orange. See here the color, that solution is changing to yellow color. So with sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide also same thing happened, and even for magnesium hydroxide also same thing is happening, isn't it? So colorless is changing to yellow color. Now we'll try with let us try for ammonium hydroxide. Okay, right. Yes, here also it is changing to yellow color, right? So these solutions, potassium hydroxide, sodium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide and ammonium hydroxide, they color changed from colorless to yellow with methyl orange, and from colorless to pink color with phenolphthalein indicator. So we have tested the 8 solutions with litmus papers and then indicators, and we have observed some changes in these. So let us tabulate all these changes, uh, whatever we have done in this activity. Okay. Now we shall tabulate all our observations here. First, the sample solutions which we have taken are 8. First one is the HCl. So we have tested this HCl with red litmus paper, and we observed that there is no change in the color of the red litmus paper. So with the HCl, no change. With the blue litmus paper, we have observed that it has changed to red color. So HCl solution with blue litmus paper, it turns red. And with the phenolphthalein indicator, we could find that there is no change in the color of the solution of HCl. Okay, so no change. And with methyl orange, we observed that it turns to red color. Okay, so HCl with red litmus, no change. Blue litmus turns to red. With phenolphthalein solution, no change. And with methyl orange, the solution turns red color. The second sample solution which we have taken is H2SO4. And here also we observed that with red litmus, no change. And with blue litmus, it turned to red. And with phenolphthalein, no change. And with methyl orange, the solution turned to red. And the third solution which we have taken is uh, a nitric acid solution. Okay. And the same thing happened here also, no change. And with blue litmus, the paper turned to red, and with phenolphthalein solution, no change. And with methyl orange indicator, the solution turned to red. The other sample solution which we have taken was acetic acid solution. And with this, no change. And whereas with the blue litmus, it turned to red. And with phenolphthalein solution, no change. And with methyl orange indicator, it turned to red. Here, the pure acetic acid does not respond to the litmus paper or the solutions indicators, whereas the dilute solution, that is acetic acid dilute solution, will respond for the litmus paper and then the indicator. Okay. So, and the next solution which we have taken is sodium hydroxide solution. Here, the red litmus paper has turned to blue color, and the blue litmus paper remained same. So no change was which we observed. And with phenolphthalein indicator, it turned to pink color. The solution, sodium hydroxide solution, turned to pink color. And with methyl orange indicator, the solution turned to yellow color. Okay. The next sample solution was potassium hydroxide. And with the potassium hydroxide solution also, the red litmus paper turned to blue, whereas blue litmus paper remained same. And the with phenolphthalein indicator, if when we added few drops of phenolphthalein indicator to the sodium hydroxide solution, the solution turned to pink color gradually, isn't it? And with methyl orange indicator, the solution turned to yellow color. So these are the observations which we saw. The next solution was magnesium hydroxide, and with red litmus, it turned to blue color, and with blue litmus, no change. With phenolphthalein indicator, it turned to pink. With methyl orange indicator, the solution turned to yellow color. The last sample solution which we observed was ammonium hydroxide. So here also the same thing happened as with the sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, and magnesium hydroxide. So red litmus paper turned to blue, blue litmus remained same, and then with phenolphthalein indicator, the solution turned to pink, and with methyl orange indicator, it turned to yellow. Okay, so with this, with these 8 sample solutions, we have uh, observed their response with the litmus paper as well as the indicator. So now we'll come to a conclusion. Okay, now we'll write our conclusions. See, we have seen that in the table, some of the solutions are acids and some of the solutions are bases. Acids, the solutions which turn blue litmus red are considered as acids. Okay, so there we have seen that HCl, H2SO4, HNO3 and acetic acid or acid. They turned blue litmus red. And with methyl orange indicator, we could find that the solution has changed to red color, and with the phenolphthalein indicator, the solution remained as it is. So the acids turn blue litmus red and they respond with methyl orange indicator. And we have observed that some of the bases, sodium hydroxide, potassium hydroxide, magnesium hydroxide, and ammonium hydroxide, those are the bases. They turned red litmus paper to blue color, and with methyl orange indicator, the solution has turned to the yellow color, and with the phenolphthalein indicator, the solution turned to pink color. So among the sample solutions, some are acids and some are bases. Okay, here we have seen that acetic acid solution, it also turned blue litmus red. But a pure acetic acid will not respond for blue litmus paper. Why? Because it is a weak acid and it will not undergo ionization. Complete ionization will not take place in pure acetic acid. So as it does not contain sufficient H plus ions, it will not respond to the blue litmus paper. Okay, so we make a note of this. Only acetic acid solution will respond, whereas pure acetic acid will not respond to blue litmus paper. Okay, so this is the a small activity where we could make a difference between an acid and a base based on the litmus paper as well as the indicator. I hope you understood. Thank you so much.